This is One on One.
Absolutely beautiful. David Devan, who is the General Director and President of Philadelphia Opera. What were we just listening to?
We were listening to We Shall Not Be Moved, which was a new opera we commissioned and performed last year at our O Festival. And it's since been to the Apollo in New York, and we've produced it in Amsterdam in March as well.
Whose voice was that?
That was John Holliday. Amazing. Countertenor. He actually plays a trans character in the opera that is female to male, and moves audiences every single time.
I want to make sure we gave props to whoever was singing.
Yeah,
there.
no, he's one of the great operatic talents.
What makes your Opera Philadelphia so different from some other operas?
Yeah, we're mixing it up. We, really want to ensure that there's a future for the classical arts, and that means that there's opportunities to actually change the form so that it has 21st century fingerprints on it.
Example?
Example, commissioning new work, like the one we just heard. We've done 7 world premieres in 3 years. Producing things outside the Opera House. That was produced in the Wilma Theater, and then it went to the Apollo, and then it went to a theater in Amsterdam. Just last week, we took over the TLA on South Street, just beside Jimmy's Steaks, to do a cabaret opera, and then we...
That's great.
So, just being a part of urban life and
engaged.
Not being above it. Yeah.
Hey, we're the opera and you're not.
Yeah, and doing things that reflect our time. The opera we just heard the excerpt from, We Shall Not Be Moved, is about 5 African-American youths on the run from some trouble. And they take refuge in the moved bomb site from Philadelphia from 32 years ago, and they hear the ghosts of the people that perished.
Wow.
As a source of inspiration for them. Those are things that couldn't happen in the 18th century and the 17th century when opera was being written.
The idea that the moved bomb site connected to this opera, I'm just thinking about the social connections.
Completely.
Just powerful.
Just in Philly, but then we take it to New York, and then we take it to Amsterdam, and everyone in the audience is like, wow, this story's not about Philadelphia. It's about us.
It's about us.
Yeah, completely.
Curious about this. What's the whole Netflix model thing?
Yeah, so the other thing is that our whole industry is built on this model from the 1950s called the subscription model. So the idea is you're going to give me a lot of advance money to buy a whole bunch of operas or classical music.
Some I don't.
Yeah.
But I got to buy the whole package.
Yep, just to get a seat that you want. Well, we don't really live in that kind of economy anymore. It's a gig economy.
Don't you dare go with on demand. Is it on demand? Like I go for what I want.
You go for what you want. And people are used to curating their own experiences. So what we created last year, and we just concluded this year, is a highly dense urban opera festival that is essentially like Netflixing the opera, where we have 7 opera happenings across 5 venues, 28 performances, 11 days. You can come to Philly and binge watch lots of different programs within 3 days. And then you can go on to other art forms you like, so that you don't have to make hanging out at Opera Philadelphia or committing to classical music a lifelong soul endeavor. It can be a major punctuation in your life that's important and meaningful.
David, how does it change the audience?
It makes it younger. It makes it more diverse. Last year, 18% of our audience was 29 years and under.
18%.
Talking classical music here.
That's a big... I can't imagine the national average is anywhere near that.
It's not. Well, I don't know what. Probably doesn't even
5,
register.
yeah,
doesn't even
okay.
register probably. And the other thing is that when we the opera we just saw and other operas we were doing, we are engaging creative artists of color, and they're representing their communities. And hey, guess what? their communities want to come and see it.
That's right.
And
Who historically have not
correct.
had either access or an inclination.
Right. So then you end up getting this like great chemistry in the audience of people from all different walks of life. And, you know, when you go to the theater, I go to the theater, we want to see people that we usually see at the theater, but we're also excited when we see new people, and there's an energy there.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. You're connected to the schools as well.
We are,
How
yeah.
so?
We have a big community programs effort. We have a Sounds of Learning program where we are actually bringing kids in from the schools to see operas for the first time. We actually have a teen vocal program, so kids can actually learn how to sing. It's no cost, no audition, and we have a workforce readiness program, which is kids that aren't going to be college bound, working towards getting union certified or union cards before they finish high school.
What's your story? How'd you get into this whole thing? Seriously.
Yeah, I'm.
You didn't grow up in Philadelphia?
No, I'm a Canadian.
You're a Canadian.
I am.
You admit that?
Yes, and I became a U.S. citizen in January.
I mean that in a good way. Oh, congratulations!
So
you
now I'm
became a
dual.
U.S. citizen.
I did. So
Art's part of your life, day one, all the way back?
Nope. Was a finance major, business guy, and got a gig in 1989 at the Canadian Opera Company. Had never seen an opera. Fell in love with opera. Was reasonably good at my job. Went through very quickly at a young age. Was running an opera company in Victoria, British Columbia. And then they came recruiting me in Philly. And I remember saying to them, hey, the only thing I remember from business school is the best way to compete is not to. So if you all want to create a highly differentiated artistic experience that represents the community we live in, and you want to reinvent the company, I'm good. I'm interested.
You want to do the same old, same old?
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, and you know, like I think for Philly and the region where we are even today, I think there's, this region is the perfect intersection of sophistication and grit. And I think that our artistic practice embodies that. I think what we just saw, if you were to come to see that opera, and I think that makes it of us.
You an Eagles fan?
I am an Eagles fan. I've learned to like football.
Look at you. Just checking. Everyone from Philly, I have to ask that question. Biggest difference between the New York opera scene, Philly opera scene. I hate to create a, a thing, but give me 30 seconds.
We're complementary. The Metropolitan Opera does large, grand-scale opera in one of the most iconic opera houses in the world.
Yep.
With
Lincoln
great
Center,
talent.
right?
Yep. And so they're about doing opera at a super high level. We also have our own sense of excellence, but I think we're more focused on creativity, and I think we have a greater inquiry about what the future of opera can be. And I think those are the differences.
Well said, Davey. Thank you. We appreciate it, David.
Thanks for being
here.
here.
Wish you all the best at the Opera Philadelphia.
Well, and we'll hope to see you in the audience someday. Thank you.
I'd love to do that.
Let's
Thank
take
you.
care of that.
By the way, that voice was incredible, again, that we listened to at the beginning. I'm still caught up on that. Still listen right back, right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Delta Dental of New Jersey, the Northward Center, PSC&G, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.